Hello, everyone. Super excited to be hosting this workshop. The fun fact is that like the original version of these slides, I technically made like 2 or 3 years ago at the Catskills retreat for Versi. So it's cool to be like I like added a lot of stuff, but it's cool to have revamped that. But yeah, today we're gonna talk about creating your personal brand for social media organically. So if that's you wanting to become a creator, it can also apply to brands in some sense as well. But I'm gonna talk a lot about kind of like more of the internal things of like deciding what you want to talk about, how you talk about it, those types of things, as opposed to complete like algorithm hacks. This is more about you. Okay. It all starts with unlocking the power of being yourself. All right, really quickly about me. I've been making content since I was 10 years old. I had an app called Video Star, and I would make a bunch of music videos and put them on YouTube. And then since then, for the past like 3 or 4 years, I've been making my own personal content, as well as working in like the creator economy, like at various influencer marketing agencies or at tech companies. So I've coached hundreds of creators on building their brands, also dozens of startups on similar marketing. And most recently, I was at Cluely building their UGC program, in which we also were coaching a lot of creators, and that was a lot of it. So a lot of this is learnings from my experience and things that I would tell my clients or people that I've worked with. Okay, so how do you define personal branding? Does anyone want to give like their own definition of personal branding? One person? Yeah.
I feel like it's the essence of who you are and how you express it.
That was beautiful. That's like basically exactly what I said. So perfect. Okay, so this is how I define it. Your personal brand is the unique story and impact you bring to the world. And then the act of personal branding, the act of putting it online and making content, is quantifying and qualifying those things about yourself in a way that best impacts and inspires others. So part of it is really like you and who you are and what you've experienced. And then the second part is figuring out how to actually translate that online in a way that other people can receive it the best and the most people can receive it. So the first thing that I always start with is this quote that I heard before I started making content. You are always an expert to somebody else. Even if you're 18 years old and you have not even graduated high school yet, there are still people 2-3 years below you that would love to learn from you and would love to gain mentorship from you. So it doesn't matter if you're not an expert, if you just started at something, even if you're a beginner at something and that's the thing you want to talk about, you always have an expertise that somebody else would want to hear from you. Okay, now I'm gonna get into the 4 components that I believe make a powerful personal brand. So these are the 4 things that you will not necessarily be able to determine tonight about yourself, but I believe these are the 4 main important things. The first is your why. Has anyone watched this video before? Simon Sinek, Start With Why. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys like the first few minutes of it, but this pretty much encapsulates what I mean.
We assume even we know why we do what we do. But then how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it. There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You ready to buy a computer from me? All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried.
Okay, I hope that was somewhat easy to watch. Sorry about the audio. But essentially what he's saying is start with your why. And obviously this is something that will take probably a while for you to figure out, unless you already have your why. But your why when it comes to content and being on social media is the lens in which you make decisions and the reason why you do what you do, the reason why you make content. Or if you're an artist, the reason why you make art, the reason why you even want to build a platform. Because simply saying out loud to your audience, like, I just want to get followers, is not compelling enough of a reason. And when you really nail down your why, nothing else matters. Like the strategy doesn't really matter. The video format doesn't really matter. If you have a compelling enough story about why you want to do something, that's ultimately like what will attract people to you. And I really like his example at the end about how like because Apple has nailed that down, they can sell anything. They can sell not just computers, but phones, MP3 players, whatever it might be. And that's how I feel with like creators. If you can nail down your why, then you can talk about anything. Like, you don't have to just niche into one very specific topic in order to grow your audience. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. All right, the second thing that you need is your thesis. Think like an author. What could you write a book about based on all of your life experiences, even if all you've done is go to high school and then you dropped out and then that's it, right? What could you write a book about? What are the very specific things about your life that give you like an interesting claim to make? Because to me, people always say like, oh my God, I don't know how to come up with enough content ideas to post like every single day for 30 days. Like, that's 30 different ideas. To me, if you just have one strong thesis, you can build an entire brand off of that. So here are some examples, right? Some like popular personal brands built off of one thesis. So the biggest example to me is James Clear with Atomic Habits. How many of you guys have read Atomic Habits? A lot of people here. I personally don't know much about James Clear as an individual, but I have read his book. And because of that, I trust him when it comes to his learnings, his teachings about productivity. That's why I think he has like one of the top newsletters. That's why he can do that, because he has that one thesis that he chose to make popular. He didn't even have to invent it. Like, I don't know if he invented the ideas that he has in these books, but he found them, he curated them, and then he popularized them. And because of that, he has the authority to do these things. So like, for example, what specific things is James Clear known for? ChatGPT can answer that question, right? So what would it be for you? What is X person known for? What would that be for you, based on what you know best and what you can popularize? Yeah, what does it take that you could popularize? Here are some examples of some creators that I look up to or I know. Like Mel Robbins is really popular. She created a theory, the Let Them theory, and then she wrote a book about it, and now it's in every single airport, every single thing, and she is an authority. She was already, but she is now even more of an authority when it comes to relationships. Whitney over here, she had this theory about how people become famous. And I remember I talked to her about this, like right when she started making content, and I was like, that's a really compelling theory. You should just drive that, and you should just popularize it. And she did. And now she has like a whole business built off of her one theory about how to become famous. And then Hayes over here, this is a theory that she's run with her whole life about the 6 types of besties that you can have. And she made a video about it. It did well, and now it becomes a recurring language that she uses in her videos. So when she talks about specific relationship things, or like she has an advice column, so she'll read like a letter from someone asking for advice about something, she will reference her own language, her own dictionary that she made, and that makes her an authority because she literally invented it. And now I think in those terms as well, in terms of bestie. Now the third thing you need is your backstory. Your backstory is the journey that you're on, the journey that you've been going through. So if you look at like these very classic storytelling charts, you are where you are right now. There are places that you want to be in the future, but there's also places that you came from. And most people, when they make content, they haven't really defined those places yet, right? Like, you grew up, how? How did you grow up? Or what beliefs did you used to have that you no longer have? What transformation did you go through when you decided you wanted to quit your job or drop out, or whatever story it is you are on? What have you learned in doing so? And the important thing is that you connect your backstory to your why. So here's my example. My backstory, as I kind of mentioned before, is that I've been making content since I was like 10. I've just always loved it. Like, I've loved filming, I've loved editing, I've loved doing all of it. And for me, I think the reason why I love doing it is because YouTube was the place where I could look up to people that looked like me. Like, there was so much more Asian American representation on YouTube, and I would watch all these people's videos before, there was in movies or whatever it might be. And that connects to my why, because why am I up here teaching this? Why am I so passionate about content creation and personal branding? Why do I do this for a living? It's because I think that every content creator, even if you end up with 10,000 followers or 1 million followers. Every content creator has the ability to represent some sort of model for somebody else that's younger than them. And to me, that's really powerful, and to me, I love helping people tell their story for that very reason. So that's kind of like my backstory. That's part of how I tie in my why. Now, the last thing you need is your immediate goal. So this is a bit more like taking all the 3 components you have and then breaking it down into just one smaller thing that you can talk about right now. So what are you currently working on? It needs to be quantifiable, and you need to be able to give live updates on it. So this could be your journey to starting a business, your journey to building a community, your journey, your one art project that you're making right now. And the reason being is an uncertain result paired with clear vision and optimism makes you really easy to back. You've probably seen like series like this on Instagram, like day 1 of doing blah, 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 day 2 of doing blah, blah, blah. The reason why is because when you set forth a vision and you say, I'm gonna go for this and you can watch me if you want, you're able to like get a lot of people backing you and more invested in your story. So these are the main components of personal branding, the 4 things that I want you to really like journal about, think about, and figure out for yourself. Here's an example. So this is Mackie Sellers. Has anyone seen Mackie Sellers before on TikTok? I love her. But she has worked in like VC and consumer brands for a long time. She talks a lot about it. She's very educational in her content, but she's also talked about the misogyny and the hate that she faces from people in the industry she works in because it's primarily male dominated. And so what she did was she built a brand called Hot, Smart, Rich. And it's very clear that her why is to empower women to build their empires the same way she's building hers. Her thesis that she can go out there and she can prove through her own actions, but also through her community that she's built, is that we can be hot, smart, and rich. We can do it all. And that's something that can then be very easy to back. If you resonate with her in any way, or if you've experienced any of the same things that she's experienced, you will watch her and you will want to hear what she has to say. Okay, now that you have the personal brand, how do I post? How do I grow? What are the actual like specific tactics that I should think about? My philosophy is that you should not overthink your strategy early on. To me, I came up with this metaphor. It's like food. It's like seasoning on food, right? Like seasoning can make something taste great, but it's not like it's not going to. Okay, I don't know this metaphor, but it's like if you don't cook it well, it's still not edible. And so one thing that I suggest you don't do, that a lot of people do, is overanalyze other people's success. Because when you look up a very successful creator and you look at their most recent videos and you're like, oh, she's big because she did this, 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 and this, you are forgetting of the backstory of how she grew originally. Like a lot of times when I look at someone that I like want to like research or something, I'll go on TikTok and I'll sort by popular and see which of their videos actually blew up and gained their like initial traction and their initial following, because that's actually a lot more telling than like the most recent videos that they've made. So don't overanalyze too much. To me, there's 3 core fundamental things that you need to get down. Like you need to have these straight as you become a creator. The first one is output. This one is very common of a tip. But you need to embrace social media as a lifestyle, like embrace creating content as a lifestyle. I like to say that every creator at their core is a writer, even if they're not physically writing. Like I don't physically write things down, I don't physically script things for my content, but I have an outlet that I use to push my ideas out. So for me, I use TikTok. I'm very imperfect with my TikTok, and I just say whatever I want on there, and then I like perfect it afterwards. But you need your outlet, whether that's your journal, your notebook, your TikTok or your Instagram, your story, maybe it's your close friend story. You need somewhere to like put out the imperfect ideas until you can perfect them. Now, ways to increase output. My biggest suggestion is to post every single day, just once, because to me, that's how you actually embrace the lifestyle where you have to then wake up every single day in the morning and think, shoot, what do I post today? And this gets you out of that funk of like perfection because you have to get something out by the end of the day. I tend to recommend starting with 7 days, just so that it's less intimidating. And if you can get past 7 days, I promise you, you'll feel a lot more confident and you'll have a lot more ideas at the end of the 7 days. The second thing that I love to champion is accountability group chats. I originally started because someone threw me into an accountability group chat where if I didn't post every day, I owed like $10 per post or something. And that's what got me originally started. And then the third thing is to really look through your entire creative process and identify every single piece of friction and figure out a way to eliminate it. So this is like how I've broken down the creative process for most people. You start with an idea, and then you have to film it, and then you have to edit it, and then you have to post it. And between each of those steps, there's so many things that can stop you from actually getting something out. So the idea to filming is one of the biggest ones. Some examples of the friction that you might face is there's an untouched list of content ideas that you don't know what to do with, that you don't really resonate with anymore. Another one is like your filming setup. You have an idea, but you don't have your makeup on, or you don't have your camera with you, or it's too loud, your roommates are home. Like there are so many excuses to stop you from filming. One thing I always do is have like a static filming setup that you don't have to move around, that you don't have to unplug. I leave everything plugged in so that if I'm ever inspired in the moment, I can turn on the camera, I can turn on the mic, and I can just start talking. So you really don't want to overthink it. When I first started out, I also had like I put my makeup and a mirror like right next to my desk so that I could always go and like get ready if I needed to. So I had literally no excuse. I just made it so I couldn't give myself an excuse. From filming to editing, there's a lot with like organization there, like your unedited and disorganized footage. For me, like I am really bad at vlogs because I'm really bad at organizing my footage to then put into CapCut or put into whatever and edit it. From editing to posting, that's a lot. If you already have the video, a lot of it just comes down to your fear of being perceived, of flopping, or sometimes going viral. I know some people like are scared of going viral. The second thing is your lighting, sound, and editing. So this is like the basics of what you need. I don't think you need to get equipment. I don't think you need to be perfect whatsoever, but there is still a bare minimum that needs to be reached. So a lot of times when somebody comes to me asking for advice, like, oh, can you give me some tips on how to grow on social media? I look at their page and their content, like, it doesn't matter what they're talking about or like what strategy they chose to go with, what formats they chose to do, because their bare minimum isn't even there yet. Like their bare minimum watchability of the video isn't even there yet. So, oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so here's two examples of videos with similar concepts, and I'm gonna play both, and you tell me which one you think went viral. And it really doesn't have to do with like what they're talking about. I'm only gonna show like the first like 10-15 seconds.
Day 4 of Road to $1 million. So I have Claudebot running over here, and I'm trying to set up a Discord server. So I saw that a lot of people are talking to Claudebot.
Okay, that's example one, and then this one's example two.
Content creation as a 42-year-old man, you kids do not get enough credit. This stuff is hard. Every day I'm sharing what I learned. I kept cutting faster, thinking that speed.
Okay.
But the analytics.
Does anyone have a vote for number one being the one that went viral? Okay. What about number two? Yeah. So these are very minimally edited videos. Neither of them look that crazily like high effort, but there's just like some core bare minimum principles that need to be improved in the first one to get to the level of the second one, right? And this second one got like half a million views. This one was made by Charles back there, so we didn't actually post it, but like you can tell, right? There's like just like a slight difference in lighting, there's a slight difference in speed and like how much he was cutting. He like left his pauses in there that make it a lot less interesting, and if you saw that on your feed, you probably would swipe regardless of what he's talking about, just because of the like core, the basics of what he did. Here's also another like case study that I experienced recently, so don't underestimate the power of the right setting. So this is an example of one of the UGC creators that I worked with at Cluely, and she posted a lot of it. She posted like 2 to 3 times a day for a few months, probably 2 months before she hit traction. And for context, the videos she was making were like pretty much all about corporate, like working in corporate, and like advice about working in corporate, stuff like that. And you can see a dramatic difference. So this is when she first started posting, and a lot of it is like directly talking to the camera with this curtain thing in the background, and she wasn't really breaking like 10,000 views. And then eventually we told her to like change her setting to look more like she works in corporate, because she was talking about working in corporate, she was telling stories about it, but to me, this background looks a bit like you're on vacation, or like you're in a hotel, or like you're in some beachy area. And the moment she switched to sitting at her computer, sitting at a desk with a computer in front of her, she started breaking 10K, like every single video. And even just like her posture, like the way she was talking became more confident and stuff. And so when you look at this, like your setting really is part of the character that you play online. So don't underestimate it. I don't think it's everything. Like I personally don't really think about it. Like I'll film with a white wall behind me, that's fine. But it can really help, and it can really crack something if there's like a specific story you're going for, something. Okay, and then the third thing, which is the last, is your energy and your charisma. I truly believe that like a creator with great charisma and great energy does not need any strategy to like do well with content creation. It single-handedly ups your chances no matter what topic you're talking about. Here's an example of this.
Believe this, but I'm about to witness 2 rail tours crossing over each other at exactly the same point. For a railway enthusiast, it's like finding a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I really hope it happens, and it should be happening just here.
Okay, so like,
Please sit down.
to me, like that's not a topic that, I mean, I actually would watch this, but like, to me, it's all about his charisma. It was just him standing there with this certain like energy to him that makes you want to stay and watch and like support him in his happy experience that he's about to witness. And that video got like almost 30 million views. So that's like an example of energy and charisma. I would also say, like, going back to these two, like, there's a difference in his energy in terms of like there's like an enthusiasm, right? Like he wants to share something with you, whereas in this video it's kind of just like I'm being forced to film and I'm reading from a script type of energy. So there is like a difference there. Now some tips that to improve kind of this energy on camera, this charisma, is when you're talking, talk to the friend that shares your enthusiasm for the topic you want to talk about. So let's say you're nerding out about, I don't know, like Clawbot, which is what Charles is talking about. Don't talk to the person that in your life that has no idea what that is. Talk to the person that's equally nerding out about it, because the way you talk to them is way more enthusiastic, even if it is a boring topic. Now, the second thing I'll say is everybody knows how to talk to the camera. Like, I guarantee you know how to talk to the camera because you do it on your close friend story. You do it every day when you're in a meeting. Like, when you're in a meeting on Google Meet, Zoom, you're literally talking to a camera, right? There's nothing different about it. But when you're filming for like on camera for content, you get scared by the task of getting somebody's attention. So I like to think of it like think about your close friend story or one of your friends and what they post on close friends, right? They're very much their own personality when they're making this random vlog, let's say, that they're posting, because they know exactly who's gonna watch it. They know it's their friends watching it. And that's how you should reflect, like that's the type of energy you should have when you're on camera. Whereas when you're filming on camera and all you have is like a script and you're like, oh gosh, I hope this goes viral, you're really nervous about like the idea of it potentially going viral, that you are not actually talking to a single person. You're just talking to talk, and you're just talking to read from a script. So assume that you have that person's attention already. Assume all you are looking for is one person's attention, and go with that type of vibe. And I promise, like, this will make sense once you experience it for the first time. Once you do it and you start to see your confidence kind of increase, you'll understand what I mean. But you have to kind of like unlock it. And sometimes there are days where you won't have it. There are days where you will. Now, the last thing that I just want to end off on is you don't have to be great at everything. You don't have to perfect every little thing about content creation. To me, of all these points, like number 1, number 2, number 3, output is 100% necessary. Lighting, sound, and editing, like to the bare minimum, is necessary. Charisma is going to help you no matter what you do. But if you really say, I don't have charisma, I'm not charismatic, if you really like don't have it, you don't have to. You just have to be good at one thing, and you just have to pick what that one thing is for you. So this is what I like to call your key variable. And you just need to find what your key variable is. Your key variable is the specific component of your video that determines whether or not it will succeed. So every different type of creator has their own key variable. For a lot of people, charisma is that thing, right? For like the influencers or the people that yap on TikTok and just go viral telling any story, a lot of the times it's like partially their charisma that does it. But there's so many other things. So for humor, if you're a comedy creator, you can post any kind of video, right? It could be cinematic, it could be not cinematic, it could be educational, it could be not educational, but at the end of the day, what your viewers care about and what they will determine to be a good video versus a not good video from your page is how funny your joke is, how humorous you made that video. For me, an example, I make like educational content, so I don't really care about how cinematic it is, how good it looks, how funny it is. All I care about is that what I'm talking about is interesting and that I'm explaining it clearly and that I'm making a like complex idea simple. Like those are the things that when I do that well, my video does well. When I don't do it well, my video does not do well. And that's what I chose as like my playing ground, because my audience is there for my like education or my ideas. So that's what I care about. But let's say you're more of an artist and you want to put like your films online. Then your audience is probably an audience that really appreciates like a good shot or a good edit or a good effect or whatever it might be. And so for you, you actually do need to put effort into that. Maybe you don't have to make it educational, maybe you don't have to make it funny, but you do need to make it look good, and the better it looks, the better it'll do. But you kind of choose what playground you are running on. That's all, you got this, and remember, you are always an expert to somebody else, and they want to hear from you. Yeah, Q&A.
Yeah.
Sure. Yes.
I have a question. I guess, like, do you think that being a content creator, making content, could ever become oversaturated? Because you say that you are an expert to somebody else, but at the same time, like, at a point, is it too much of, like, too many people making content?
I think, like, you can always make that argument. Like, I think, like, even in 2021, 1 year after TikTok became, like, this big thing, people were already saying, like, oh, it's too saturated. But I really don't think so. Like, I think, like, technically speaking, there's, like, a certain amount of viewers in the on planet Earth that can like watch content, but I don't think that is a factor that will make it like that will impact your ability to go from 0 to like 1 million followers. Like maybe there's a difference on the large scale, but I think anyone in this room could get to that point regardless of how many people are like trying at it because of your like individuality. There are people out there that like would watch you over someone else. So like an example is like with fitness, there's plenty of people interested in fitness. There's plenty of people that go to the gym every day, but everyone has their own approach to it. Some people are bodybuilders, some people are trying to just like feel good. And both, like in those examples, those people would create completely different content and have completely different audiences, even though they're both technically like fitness creators.
First of all, love your content. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you.
I've like dabbled in content creation and kind of like a little spike, and then I've gotten distracted. So this is great to get me back. But the work I've done so far has been primarily around like love and relationships and like really theoretical concepts about human connection. And I thought a lot about like if I do want to grow it into like a side hustle or something that's more sustainable. I think it does really help to have something that's like more niche or grounded in like products that you could actually like, I don't know, like what kind of brand deals do you want to work with? And like if I'm making videos about relationships, it's like kind of hard to find products related to that. So I guess I'm just curious, your thoughts on that like general conundrum of like, do you think about product placement and brand deals as you're thinking about these things, or just like picking a niche that feels really practical, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think like personally, I don't think about product placements and stuff, but that's because my core like monetization is not through brand deals. I think there can certainly be like ways to optimize for that, but to me like the best creators to work with for brand deals are the ones that like truly influence their audience. Like truly, to me it's about like, are you a real person that your audience watches, as opposed to just like a billboard that gets thrown onto their screen. So like it's funny, like once TikTok became a thing, like on YouTube, everyone knew which YouTubers they were watching. Like you could talk about YouTubers with your friends, but once TikTok became a thing, there's like so many influencers out there that we probably all recognize, but we have no idea what their name is. We don't know anything about them. To me, the like thing that can set you apart and like can allow you to charge more for a brand deal is your ability to actually like have people name you and like know something about you. And that goes back to the personal branding of you kind of talking about your why. Like there's a way where you could expand beyond just love and relationships by like talking about your own story, maybe talking about like the how like you could seed in love and relationships as part of your journey to whatever your bigger like journey or goal or why is, and that makes it so that people can still kind of like watch you for that, but also for anything else about your life. Yeah.
A question on, so a mistake I made in the past, and I know a lot of people make this mistake as well, is my goal is to get X follower count. My goal is to get X subscriber counts. And I've been in that, it's like, I made that mistake in the past, and like I kind of adjusted things from then on, but like I'm kind of curious from your perspective, how do you set goals and how do you review them on, like what's your process for reviewing them on a basis?
Yeah, I would say I'm not super tactical myself when it comes to like, oh, I want to hit X followers or anything like that. To me, I think like a better metric or a better like goal is to find concepts that resonate. So like for me on TikTok, this is why I don't really care what I post. I don't care too much about views. Obviously it like affects me, but like for me, I just kind of put any idea out there, and my goal is that like the thing that would make me happy is for people to comment on that video and say, oh my gosh, I feel this so much, or oh my gosh, you put into words something that I like couldn't really figure out, but now like whatever. Like those types of compliments of people resonating with it, to me that's where like the impact is made, and that's where you can like then take that concept and make it bigger. You can make a series of it, or you can like elaborate on it or whatever. So for me it's more about like the comment section, the saves, that's what I care about.
Yeah. My question is, if you're trying to figure out your why, what would you like suggest people do? Are there any journal prompts that you did?
I didn't do any journal prompts, but I would say like really like think about, for one, like every person like has their own, okay, there's that like quote or something about how like every day you have the same, I don't know, I'm making this up, but like every day you have the same like 95% of your thoughts are the same every day or something like that, right? Like every person is kind of made up of very consistent thoughts, and everyone has their own like trajectory or things that they care about. Like when I was younger, all I cared about was like getting into college. Like that's all I had in my mind for a long time, like in high school. But right now, like what is that for you? And like what has been consistent in your life up until this point? So like for me, one of those things was always the like media and the representation. Like I noticed that when I was 10, I still care about it now. And so for me, that's something that like kind of pulls a thread like for everything that I've done. And that's like when I first realized that, I like looked back at all of the things that I've done in the past or have been interested in and realized, oh, they all make sense now, like because of my why. So it really comes from like looking into your past and then also like looking into what you do right now. Like why do you actually do it? Why did you choose to join Versi? Like what were the reasonings behind all these things? And eventually you'll get there. But I don't have like a specific prompt. Sorry.
No, that answers it.
Yeah. This is really great. I'm curious if any of your advice changes, or if you have any very specific advice, if you're trying to create content exclusively to sell one product. So not like brand deals, but like specifically to sell product.
Do you care about building your brand, or is it just
sales?
Just
I would
sales?
say that's the end goal, at least, yeah. So not followers per se.
Yeah, I would say for sales specifically, like what matters is cracking like a specific format. Like a format of video that can go viral, that when you post it again, it goes viral again. And when you post it again, it goes viral again. Like it's different if you want like a company brand where you have, you know, your why, your mission, like all that. But if it's just sales, then it's like, how do I demo this product in a way, like I would look to TikTok shop videos for that because they are very successful at making sales. And like, if you go to the top TikTok shop brands, you can also figure out what are their top selling videos and you'll see consistencies in them. I would mimic those.
When you post right now, are you normally posting like I think you're using TikTok more as like a journal or your output, but will you just post the same thing across all the platforms, or do you feel like there's certain things where you're like, no, I'm gonna like not post this here?
Yeah. I mean, I recommend posting similar things on each platform. I don't do it, but most people I think should because it's just more efficient that way. Like basically the like hole that I fell down, which I'm fine with, is actually I chose it, is that like I have always made like lower quality just like yap videos. That's how I started on TikTok. And whenever I would try to expand to Instagram, I just like auto posted everything onto Instagram. It never really did well. It never really like hit anything. Maybe it's because I was using an auto poster, which was like maybe that got flagged or something. I don't know. But it never really hit for me. And I always just cared about my TikTok because I liked the platform. To me, TikTok feels more invisible in a way where like not everyone you know will run into it unless they truly are interested in it. So I don't mind like whoever sees my stuff on TikTok as much as Instagram. And then what happened was that I got really inspired by some of my like creator friends that are more cinematic, and I bought a camera and I got a mic and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this Instagram thing. And I tried it and my first like few videos did really well. And because of that, I had to like carry on this like cinematic whatever. So now what I do, my flow is like, I post anything on TikTok and what I care about is the idea. So I come up with a random idea and it's like really like energetic in the moment. So then I film it right then and there. And if it does well, then I like remake that video on Instagram in a cinematic way. But that's like not really efficient towards building both platforms. So I don't necessarily recommend it.
I guess like how much are you using AI? Do you come up with all the ideas yourself, or like do you use AI to like go through the drafts, or like?
I don't use AI for my ideas. I don't think, like I think there's definitely, I'm not too familiar. Like I think there are definitely people that do it and do it well. I think there's certain prompts, like when it comes to like selling a product or something, I think there's like some good prompts that you can do to like really get the pain points. My biggest recommendation would not be to write the script with it, but to like come up with resonating concepts. So like if you have a specific, like if you're telling the story about you starting a business, let's say, I would like maybe tell that to ChatGPT and ask it like, what kind of people would be most interested in this? Like really get like down into like audience discovery and audience pain points through it. But I personally like wouldn't write it with AI.
How much more time you have? But I was gonna ask if this is full time for you right now, and if it's not, or if it wasn't at some point, like, yeah, how you make time? Because I just like started a new job at a startup 3 weeks ago, and I have not posted in the last 3 weeks, and I'm like, okay, this is I'm getting back with today, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, how am I gonna do both? Because I really want to do both.
Yeah, I have struggled with this for a long time because of jobs, school, like whatever. I'm probably not the biggest authority on it because I'm actually not that consistent. But like some recommendations, like one thing that I did when I was in school was like I was not surrounded by anyone that like even like thought about content this way. Like everyone that I was around was just using like TikTok for entertainment. And so I like, for me it's all about like the brain space. Like for me to come up with an idea that I then feel so excited about to post onto TikTok, I have to like be thinking about it already or have to surround myself in an environment. So for me, I curated that environment at school. I like signed up, there was one semester I signed up for pretty much only media classes, even though my major was not media. And I was like, I'm just gonna surround myself in brand, marketing, social media concepts, whatever. And that gave me like a frequent flow of concepts. Because for me, it's less how do I make the time to film or how to make the time to edit. It's like how do I even come up with the ideas if I'm only thinking about work all day? So yeah, I think it's like environment, like people. My biggest source of ideas comes from like working with creators. Like I'll have a call with one and I will have explained something in a certain way that I really liked, and then I'll like immediately translate that to a video.
Do you have any specific recommendations for like artist designers? Because I'm a designer and like I don't have that much output or like final result, and lots of parts of the process are like so, I guess, like specific that there's not that much to say, it feels like sometimes.
What would your ideal brand be, or like what would you want to be known for? Is it like your designs or is it your journey as a designer?
I guess more of the designs. I have a big following on Pinterest, but like I've never put my face on there. It's just the work itself. So I'm kind of like working backwards of like, how can I, because the work itself doesn't grow on any other platform except Pinterest. But
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily get me where I'm trying to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to like talk about it like after. But I think like there's different, like I think it comes down to like different formats. Like you could do like part 1, part 2, part 3, like progress updates. You could tell a story behind it. There's one artist that I follow on Instagram that I really like, who I don't know what she looks like. All I know is her, like, back to the key variable thing, it does come down to the art. Like it does to a degree come down to the end product if what you want to be known for is the design and the style and the skill. So that is important. But like for her, she would film the process of her like doing a painting, and she would just like tell this like very eloquent story about her like childhood or about like the meaning behind it in the background as like a voiceover. Like that was like just one example, but we can brainstorm sometime. Yeah.
I have some questions. First, what tools do you use? I remember you saying like you kind of went through the most popular videos if you like saw some of your creators. What tools do you use for that?
That I literally just use TikTok. So I don't love, for my own content, I don't love doing research from other creators. I think it's it depends on what you want. It's certainly a strategy. But for me, like I'd rather just like have my own ideas and just put my own things out there. I'm not really chasing growth as like rapidly. But yeah, I just go on, if you do want to analyze someone's success, like for example, let's talk about like Alex Earl, right? She's like a very big influencer. Right now, you could go to her most recent 10 videos and you could analyze every single thing about it, every single edit, every single like topic that she chooses to talk about, and you could be like, okay, that's her content strategy. but what you would not have gotten out of that is the context of how she even got her following in the first place. So I always go on TikTok, I like click the drop down and sort by popular instead of recent, and I look at like their top videos, and like a lot of the times their top videos were from like 2022, 2021, and you get a sense of like how they actually grew their following. And that's not to say you need to replicate it, but it gives you a lot more context of like where they're coming from.
I have another question.
Yeah.
If someone wants to post consistently for 7 days, is there a way to do so?
Yeah, there's a challenge that I like to run called, it's just a 7-day challenge. My thought was to do it every like start of the month. So I did it in February. I might do it again in March, but I will, if I do, I will put it in Mercy's Slack. Yeah.
Do you have like a basic setup you recommend for people who don't want to get too deep into editing but want to add like captions or like basically trim out parts of the video that you want to like remove?
So editing specifically?
Yeah, like what are the lowest possible, easiest way of doing
TikTok. TikTok is the best. Everyone, like most people go on CapCut. I am such an advocate of filming directly in TikTok and just editing if you just want to do like basic captions, basic trimming, because to technically, okay, like we can talk about the nitty-gritty, but like most people, they film on their phone, right, their camera roll. The reason I don't like doing that is because if I want to do multiple takes, or if I want to stop the video and then like keep going, it always becomes another file, right, like it becomes another thing. The reason I think TikTok, and I experienced this with my UGC creators at Cluely, like when we first started working with them and training them, most of them were going on their camera roll, and it would take them so long to make a video because they have to record everything, get the perfect takes, then they have to find every single clip in their camera roll, put it into some editing platform, and then put it together and pick whatever. On TikTok, you do that while you're filming. So to me, if you go and watch any of my TikTok videos, you'll see me cutting every like 5 words because I don't know what I'm gonna say next. Like I just say a sentence, I stop, I think for like 1 more second, I say another sentence, I stop, I think for 1 more second. So like I basically create it while I'm going, and to me that's like the fastest way to make a video. And then you can add captions and stuff too.
I literally have so many videos on my camera roll that I've never posted.
Yeah, because you don't even, like that goes back to the friction, like you just don't want to organize it into your actual project. Like TikTok will solve that.
Hi, I'm Avi. Thank you so much for the workshop once again. I'm curious, so you said that it's important to identify your why. So my question is, how do you communicate your why while posting about something else? And I can give you a more concrete example to work off of. So I think my why is I'm very curious, and because of that I'm working on a side project to like get better at marketing and learn how people do that. So I imagine most of my content will be about my product and like I'll be building it in public. How do I constantly communicate the curiosity and my why through it all?
Yeah, I think I would want to know even further, like curious about what? Why are you curious?
Yeah.
Do you embrace learning? Like what exactly that thing is? Because to me, like if you just say, like if you said in front of a room of people like, hey guys, like I'm curious, like that's not gonna get people invested. So I think you would need to go a step further into like what makes you curious, what are you trying to change about the world that like makes you curious about specific things like marketing. But to like answer the question of like infusing it, I think there are so many ways. For starters, make that intro video where you actually go out and say everything, and do that a lot. Do that every like 3 months or something, because you can never like remind your audience too many times. People forget a lot, and like you will see like creators that like I won't pull it up right now, but there's this girl on TikTok, Reagan, who has this series. It's like a TV show series where it's like day 1 of starting over my whole entire life. I broke up with my boyfriend of 5 years, like blah, blah, blah. She has that same script for every single video for like the first 6 months of her page. And she was just reminding her audience every time, and that's okay. And then on that point, I would say like, there's always ways to like infuse it. Like even if you're giving tips, like here are 6 things that you should know about marketing. number 1, number 2, number 3, and then like in your examples you can say like, as somebody who is blah 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 blah, I found this one really interesting because blah blah blah. Like you can always find a way to relay it back to yourself.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Great. Thanks for coming to this workshop.
Thank you.